Witches. So today we're going to start talking about some correspondences. For today we're going to cover the 5 elements of witchcraft, which are earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. All of those elements are really cool because they can be found within ourselves, right? So, earth, we are made of tons and tons of minerals. You have iron in your blood. You have calcium in your bones. Air, you have in your lungs. Fire, this one is kind of hard for me, but I like to think of the burning of energy. We are literally filled with energy. And then water, we're mostly made of water. And then of course, number 5, spirit, meaning that we have a soul, right? So these are also, like, if you ever see a pentacle, which I have on my necklace, which is why I'm holding it, the 5 points on the pentacle refer to the 5 elements of witchcraft. So generally speaking, these correspondences are pretty straightforward. And a lot of witches, myself included to an extent, try to keep a representation of each of these on my altar. Some witches literally have like a large pentacle, which I would love to find a really cool one with like Celtic knots and stuff. So if you have any links, as always, drop it down below. But witches generally have like the 4 physical elements represented on different points at their altars. Place the tool or the item that represents that element based on the cardinal directions that are associated with each element. So we're gonna get into that right now. Well, the first element we're going to go into is earth. This is one of my favorites. I'm an earth sign, so I just feel really drawn to it. The direction is north. The colors that represent this element are green, brown, white, black, and gold. As an aside, white can really be used to represent any color in terms of color magic, but we're going to get to that in like 2 videos, so we'll go into a little bit more like depth on that. The astrological or the earth astrological signs or astrological earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. The energy is receptive. So when we're working with like receptive energy versus projective energy, which I'll get to in a second, receptive energy is energy that can like take on things. So if you want to put protective, like a protection charm somewhere, I recommend putting it in the earth so the earth can absorb that and disperse it. It's receptive, right? The tools that you can use, or the tools that represent this, are pentacles, like I said, crystals, herbs, plants, anything that's kind of like that grows, right? Best way to use the earth element in your ritual work would be anything that has to do with creativity, abundance, growth, deep healing from like trauma, and like wisdom and like learning. So it's very like, the energy to me is very like deep and old. Like that's what I get from the earth, right? The next one is kind of the opposite of that. It's air. So the direction is to the east. The colors are yellow, gold, pink, and white again. The astrological signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So the energy associated with air is projective energy, meaning that you are sending things out into the universe, right? So for me, whenever this is just an example, I guess, whenever I am talking with my deities, I generally, light incense and, I whisper my prayers into the smoke and it carries it up to them, right? Or that's kind of a symbolic way of saying that. If you are, burning something, which includes the fire element as well, the smoke often is seen as a symbolic way of projecting the intent out into the universe. So there's that. The tools that are associated with air are the wand, incense, the broom, and the bell. So all things kind of having to do with air, sound, incense, you can really see like airflow, which is cool. I would use, in terms of like using it in ritual work, anything that has to do with like being inspired, meditation, finding kind of like a harmonic balance between stuff, and anything kind of psychic or intuitive is like really like aided by incorporating the air element. The next one is fire, which I just talked about. So the direction is south. The colors are red, orange, gold, indigo, which if you think about like the way a flame looks, and then white again. Again, white is going to be for all of them. So the astrological signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The energy is again projective, so similar to the air element. It puts things out into the universe. The tools that represent fire or associated with fire are candles. Hello. And then the athame. So if you guys don't know what an athame is, it is a ritual knife. It is usually used in Wicca. From my experience, I don't know if it's specifically a Wiccan thing. I think other witches have them, but for me, I associate the athame with Wicca. And it is a knife used to direct energy, not to like kill things. So please keep that in mind. The best way to use fire in your ritual work is any working having to do with creating energy, like, you know, getting hyped about something, purifying anything. As you know, like fire cleanses things, which is kind of cool. And then sexuality. So if you're like, you know, trying to entice passion or something, or like creativity, I really recommend doing a candle spell for that. So the final physical element that we're going to talk about today is water. The direction is the west. The colors are blue, silver, indigo, and white. The signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. The energy is once again receptive. The tools that really like signify water or can represent water on your altar are the cauldron. So if you have like a little cauldron, or I have a chalice, I prefer that. I guess I have both now because I found like a really cool thing at like Goodwill, and I use that as my cauldron. But anyways, you can also have any sort of like moon water or rainwater or water in general on your altar. It's a great way to just physically bring an element there. If you're using water in your practice, it is best suited for any working related to like love, fertility, dreams, purifying anything, and just anything emotional. So yeah, there's that. Now, the fifth element, spirit, is a bit nebulous. So the spirit is like it's a very powerful energy, but it's basically anything that is not like physically like on this like realm. Like I can't just reach out and touch it, right? So it is just like that last like thing that makes reality. It's a very nebulous and very hard concept for me to like conceptualize, and even harder for me to explain, but it's basically anything that is not one of those four elements. It's your soul, and it's like a very you know, and it's, or like universal energy. That's like really a better way to say it, right? So it's very powerful, and it's one of my favorite things to employ in my work, because it's just, you can really feel it. And I know that sounds weird because like it's not like tangible, but it's just like a feeling, like a vibe that you get, which sounds so like woo-woo, but I don't really have any correspondences for that one. I think most of them like the colors are white. There is no direction, there's no astrological signs or anything like that. It's just everything that isn't like, spirit is everything that isn't like a material thing, if that makes sense. So I hope these correspondences were helpful and a good addition to your Book of Shadows. I recommend writing them down, and if you could not follow anything I said, which I 100% understand, I have pasted the correspondences that I wrote down in the description. So there's that. I will see you guys tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the moon phases.